Hey y'all, it's Michelle, and today we're doing a product review. And today I'm actually going to be reviewing the Fisher-Price Deluxe Soother sound machine and projector. And let me just start off by saying that I absolutely love this device. I used it to replace my Munchkin white noise and projector machine, which I got from Walmart for about $20. It worked great for the longest time, but the problem was that now that my baby's a little bit older, we wanted something that we could make adjustments to, maybe from my phone, which didn't require me to go into her room because her nursery is pretty close to the office. So when she would go to bed, we have a tendency to turn her volume up on her white noise machine so that we can play video games or watch movies or whatever and not wake her up. But then, when we go to bed, we could turn it back down again. But the problem was going into her room and possibly waking her up in order to do that. So I wanted to find a device that had an app. So I found Fisher-Price, which I love the brand. They're very reliable, very dependable. And I found this one online for, I think it normally retails for $50 and I got it for $40. So let's get started with the dimensions first. I have my tape measure. It is 6 inches wide roughly, about 6 inches deep, and then about 8 inches tall. So it's not huge, but it does take up a little bit of room. And the setup that you want kind of on whatever, I have it on the dresser in the nursery. You kind of want it to be out a little bit just so that it gives it a chance to kind of project on the wall behind it. They show it like in the middle of the room, but who has furniture that's in the middle of the room, honestly. So you're probably going to be putting it on a dresser, maybe a changing table or something like that, but you definitely want it to have access to the ceiling. Now let's talk about what this does. It is a projector and a sound machine, but it's different from the Munchkin one because it doesn't have a moving projection. It just has stars that pulse slowly on the ceiling, and it also has animal projection and then like a little nightlight base that doesn't move at all. It just lights up. But what's really, really awesome about this is every single aspect of this machine you can adjust within the app, and you can do so from the other room. Now, I probably could get 10 feet from the outside of the wall that it's up against. I can't be on the other side of the house in order to make this work. So let's just start talking about the features. The power, you have multiple little buttons here on the front, which are always lit up regardless, gently. The power button is directly in the center. You just touch it to turn it on. It's super easy. And it'll automatically turn on to the last setting that you had it set at, which is the brightest, has the most lights. And then you can just turn it on and you can let it run like this. When it turns on, it'll automatically go to whatever settings that you have set in the app, which I'll show you, and I'll actually do a screen demo so that you can see what the app looks like. You can adjust the 3 different lights here. This first light turns the center animal projection on and off. The second one, so that turns the stars on and off, and you can see like when they're lit up and when they're not to give you an idea of when they're on and off. And then the third button turns the base nightlight off and on, which is nice. The other side, these 3 buttons, this is your volume, which you can adjust the preset volume amounts. This is your song choice. There's 5 different songs for settle, which is what you're listening to now. It's like classical music. There's also 5 soothe songs, which are more of ambient noise with a little bit of music, but not as stimulating as this. So this is one of the soothe. This is my favorite. This is one of the soothe songs. You see the huge difference there. You have some, animal nighttime noises, and the music is a lot more stable. It's not as much going on. This is another one of the songs. It has another soothe option, which has kind of like ocean waves and then, just a soft tune in the background, not super stimulating. And then the last button is going to be your white noise option. There's 5 different options for each of these 3 things, which is really cool. The only thing I would say, and this is something that I kind of knew about, but I didn't really know going into this, is that there's differences between white, pink, and brown noise. Her white noise is what she used to listen to, and now this only has pink and brown, which is fine. Brown is kind of a deeper tone, which that's usually what we put it on at night. So let me get this back to music here. You could just run the machine directly from here. You don't need to download the app, but it is advisable to download the app in order to access the most functionality from the device. From the base, the only downside that I have with this is that the preset volume options are not, I feel like they're really loud. The nursery is a 10 by 10 square foot room, and her crib is kind of close to the dresser where this sits. So I feel like the lowest setting is too low, but the next setting is like way too high. So just to give you an idea, let's start from the off. Okay, so this is off. This is the first setting, which is good for sleeping, but I feel like it's really quiet. Like you barely hear it, I think, especially in her room. It doesn't seem to project very well, even in the small space. And then this is the next setting, which is actually kind of really loud, especially being so close to her, like within 4 feet. It's a little loud, I think. And then the other settings are just way too loud. This is the third volume setting. And then this is the fourth volume setting. Really loud. So maybe if you had this like across a room, it might be okay. But I don't know. I don't feel like I feel like it's too loud. So I'm going to be using a screen projection just so that you get a really good idea of what the app looks like, how it works, and I feel like it'll be easier to describe this way. You want to open up the Smart Connect app, which you download from the Play Store. I don't know if they have an iOS version. I'm not sure. We all use Android in this house. This Smart Connect app, I believe, connects to multiple devices. If you have more than one Fisher-Price item that has a Smart Connect capability, I think you work them all through this one app, which is kind of nice. So you want to go into the Deluxe Soother, and it'll have you pair it, and it has like a tutorial on how to pair it to the device. So you have some options right in the get-go. You have, you can just turn it on. When you just hit the green play button, you can just turn it on. And that's going to go to whatever your last setting is. But my favorite part of this device is the sleep stages, which is on the orange circle. And basically what that does is it's a preset function that has 3 different stages that slowly kind of winds baby down to sleep. And you could set different timers for this if you want to really customize it as far as how long you want each timer to go on. So what I do is when I go in her room, I'll turn it on just from the base. I don't even go into the app. I don't even bring the app with me because everything's already set up. I don't even need to bring my phone in. But then what that does is allows me to turn it on. We read books for 20 minutes, we settle in, and then once it changes to the next stage, that's kind of like a personal timer that I use to know like, okay, it's time to go in your bed. And what I'll just do is I'll turn it off, turn it back on, and that will reset back to the settle timer. These 3 settings are really nice. Here's your options for the different timers. 5, 10, 15, 20, all the way up to 1.5 hours for the settle and the soothe section. And then this is the sleep timer, which gives you basically the same choices, but it also gives you a continuous option, which is fantastic. So I do 20, 20, and then continuous, because that's gonna be the least stimulating setting. So settle uses all the different lights. It uses the star projection, the animal projection, and then the nightlight base. And then it plays through the different classical music options, which I'll show you in a second. And then let's move to soothe. Soothe turns off the animal projection, still uses the other 2 lights, and then it moves to the soothing music, which is the more ambient, quieter music. And then what'll happen is it'll just keep cycling through those 5 songs until the timer has run out, which is nice. And then let's move to sleep. Sleep is just whatever the sound that you've picked out for the noise. So like I use brown noise for mine, and then it just has the base nightlight. Now, as you can see, I can change the settings directly in the app. I can move it around, go back and forth between the 3 different settings. When I turn it on, it's going to automatically go through that schedule. So right now it'll go through settle for 20 minutes, then soothe for 20 minutes, and then stay on sleep continuously, which is fantastic. So now we get to really start customizing. So if you hit the back button, these are all the options within the app. You have animal projection, star projection, night light, music, sound effects, and timers. So as you can see, we'll start up at the top of animal projection. The center button just turns the animal projection on and off. And then you can decide how bright you want the characters to be. And you can do that by either just sliding the little dot on the bar or pressing the plus and minus buttons on the side to move it in increments. I like to keep these on the brightest because I feel like even with those settings, it's really not bright enough in her room. I actually have a little plug-in night light too that I also use just to make sure that when it's at its lowest setting, it's still light enough in the room for her. Our next setting is the star projection. This is really cool. Probably one of my favorite. You get the idea anyway. Underneath the bottom, there's like a little bar where you can actually choose each color individually. So you can completely customize the color options that you want that are from what's available. I don't do that. I just go with the multicolor. But that's entirely up to you. So once again, the center top button turns the projection on and off. And then you can change the brightness of the stars. I always keep mine on highest. So then you can also customize the speed on how quickly you want the lights to change and project up on the ceiling, which is nice. I feel like personally the fast speed is a little too fast. It made me kind of dizzy when I was in there with her with it on. So I keep it on the middle one. I feel like that works fine. And then they have some preset colors that you could go with. I keep it on the multicolor, which is 6 different colors. They also have blues and greens, which is cool. And then they have oranges and reds. And like I said, normally underneath there's an extra option to actually completely customize the colors, but I'm not going to do that because you can't even see it in the app for some reason. The next area is the night light, which is the bottom. Once again, you can press the button, turn it on and off, adjust the brightness. I keep mine all the way up. Then the next section is the music section. So you have your 5 options: settling music and soothing music. You could change the volume in there too as well. Yeah, you can't see it though. That's okay. Underneath the volume, there's a ticker and a slide bar so that you can actually adjust the actual level of volume that you want. So you could get it kind of pinpointed exactly how loud or soft you want. So our 5 options for settling music is It's Raining, It's Pouring, Aurora, 6 Little Ducks, Frere Jacques, and Bram's Lullaby. And then our soothing music, we have Somewhere, we have Daylight, which is my favorite, Dreaming Dawn, which is kind of like Oceans, Motions, and Polar Wind. And then your sound effects, see here's this one shows you the volume button. So on the music, there's this little volume tab at the bottom that you can adjust it specifically how loud you want it to be. So our sleep options are Pink Noise, Brown Noise, Ocean, Nighttime, Wind, and Womb. And then you can change your timers on the last lights. You can have it how long you want the light to run, how long you want the sound to run. So maybe you only want the light to run for 30 or 40 minutes, but you want the sound to run all night long. You can customize it with that, which is really nice. So it provides a lot of in-depth personalization that you really can't get with other devices. I can make the adjustments that I need. What's really nice about this, and they talk about it in the video too, is that when they wake up, you could go back in and turn the settle timer back on and start the cycle over again to kind of get them back down to sleep and kind of calm them down. Okay, that is my product review for the Fisher-Price Deluxe Soother. I'm absolutely in love with this purchase. I would recommend putting this on your baby registry because you could definitely utilize this from the newborn stage on up. I hope that this product review will help you in any future decisions that you have to make for baby gear. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Thank y'all so much for stopping by and have a great day.